In today's video, I want to talk about my Cz Shadow 2. I jokingly say this gun is chambered in 357 Magnum. I'll probably put that as a thumbnail. But what this gun is chambered in is the 960 Roland. If you don't know what the 960 Roland is, hopefully you know what the 9x23 Winchester Magnum is, because that is what the case is that the 960 Roland uses. If you have not watched the channel Locked and Load with Dick Fairburn, I highly suggest it. He has a couple videos out now with the 9x23 Winchester Magnum. Will definitely get you up to speed. And the only thing that's really different with the 960 Roland is the overall length. What they did is they took the 9x23 Winchester Magnum and they shrunk the overall length by setting the round in deeper into the case to give it the almost overall length of a 9x19. But you can see that the case itself is a little longer. It's 9x23. But the difference here is that the power level, the foot-pounds of energy, can get much higher because of the pressure rating. This will go, I think, 50, 55,000 psi. I don't remember what 9mm is, or 9x19, I should say. I should call it 9mm. But it is nowhere near the ability to get to 50,000 psi. This is a very impressive cartridge. I will say I did have issues with this cartridge at first. That's what this ammunition here. This is the 147 grain hard cast. They call it the penetrator ammo. This ammunition I would consider just downright dangerous to shoot. Right here is the second round I had fired of it right here. You see, it has no primer. It blew the primer out on the second round. Here's one of the other rounds I fired. So you can see that primer is flat as can be. And if you look right there where the firing pin indentation is, it actually was beginning to press into the firing pin channel of the Cz Shadow 2. And if you can actually see the overall texture on the backside of the cartridge is actually the same texture as on the inside, the breech face of the Cz. And that is not a very good sign. As you can see here, there's the bulged case, another really bad sign. And then right there, you can see that is where the the extractor was holding on and was pulling so hard it actually indented the lip of the casing there. Again, all really bad signs. I only put 5 rounds through it. I probably shouldn't have put that much through it, but after my 5th round and I blew out my second primer, I was like, I will not be touching this ammunition again. And it's a shame because I bought 4 boxes of it, 200 rounds, 50 round boxes. I think they were like $70 a box, and they will just be sitting somewhere. I will never shoot this ammunition again. It is downright dangerous. Now, I did give it another chance. Before I discuss that, here is the barrel I have in the gun. You can see it is branded Cajun. This is a Cajun Gunworks barrel. My original plan was I was going to order this barrel from Cajun Gunworks and then send it to the 460 Roland company to put the 960 Roland into it. But the 960 Roland company didn't even message me back. I had asked them if this would be a good platform for the gun, all the steps that would be required. I was going to ask if I could just send the barrel in to have the work done, or did I have to send the whole gun in? And I never got a response back. So I simply asked Cajun Gunworks if they could accommodate me and cut the chamber longer, and so it can be cut for this gun. And they were extremely accommodating. I see why so many people use Cajun Gunworks. They are a wonderful company. And I'm not even talking in the gun world. Their customer service is some of the best customer service I have ever had, bar none. You wonder why when you turn on so many YouTube videos, and if it's a CZ75, there's probably a Cajun Gunworks part on it, or Cajun Gunworks has touched that gun in some way. And I couldn't understand why for the longest time, but now I do. They are a wonderful company. If I need anything done to this gun, they're going to be the people doing it. If I need any other parts, I'm going to be getting it from them. They are a wonderful company. Now, I didn't want to fully give up on this gun, so I decided to give it a shot and get the 115 grain, simply because the 115 grain should give a little bit more case capacity to lower pressure. Sure enough, I was right with that. And I've had no pressure signs. I've shot about 100 rounds of the 115 grain, actually maybe 150 rounds now. and I have not had any of the same issues. No primers blowing out, nothing weird like that. No pressure signs, no bulge cases, anything. It honestly, it looks, it's got maybe just a slight bit of primer drag, but honestly, dropping everything here. But honestly, nothing too different than maybe something like a micro 9 millimeter and a micro 9. So again, I don't really have much of a worry there shooting it. Now, discussing this gun in itself, if you guys know what a Cz Shadow 2, these guns do not have firing pin blocks in them. I carried this gun for an entire year, and I knew this because now that I believe it's the carry model is out now. I believe they had the compact first, and then they went to the carry. I might have that backwards, but basically they made this a little bit smaller in the grip and in the barrel, and they called it the carry. The first model that came out did not have the firing pin block, and then enough people complained about it, and CZ put the firing pin block in it. And then obviously the trigger is not going to be as good now in it because now you have to overcome the little spring and plunger to press up in the gun. And also it has the decocker. I've been told that CZs with the decocker don't have quite as good as trigger. That hasn't necessarily been my experience. I've owned CZs with a decocker and even the Omega trigger system, and they've been still fairly good triggers. None of them as good as a CZ Shadow 2. These have wonderful triggers in them. But again, getting back to the fact that I'm not very concerned with this gun, because when this hammer is down, if you have not put an extended firing pin in this gun's not going to go off. I've seen people drop this on concrete. I've even done some of my own testing with rubber mallet. And I'm sure that's not quite as hard, enough momentum, but I've had seen no marks on the primed case. I just use an empty primed case, and I haven't seen any marks whatsoever with this gun. So I feel this gun, with the hammers all the way down, it's safe to carry. I think some people will carry this gun on half cock, but that actually might give it enough momentum if it's dropped and it strikes that and then it breaks your half cock notch. That potentially might go off. Something else I've done with this gun, as you can see here, this safety cannot be placed on. Well, actually, let me talk to the gun and show. This safety cannot be pressed on. I actually made a little circular jig because that's how this is cut. They put a little circular cut underneath this safety here, and I put a little piece of plastic in there so that this could not be pressed on. I can still easily remove it, but it makes it so this gun cannot go on to safe because I do not carry it that way. And under recoil, I would be worried that I might flip on this safety because I hold below it. Under recoil, you can flip it on if you've ever done that with a 1911. I was concerned with that, so I simply blocked it like that. Because again, I will always carry this gun hammer down. Again, I feel this gun is completely safe. I do not think CZ had to do on the newest carry model or compact model, whatever it is, to put the firing pin block in it. Again, I think they just kind of lawyered up with that one. But this is a great gun. I carried it for a year, if I didn't say. I've carried this gun for a year. I carried about 6 months with the standard 9x19 barrel in it, and then I carried another 6 months. The only reason I replaced it is I did want a larger gun. Here is my Colt Anaconda 44 Magnum. I've been carrying this gun ever since I got it. I love this gun. I did have a few issues with it. I would go back and watch I just put out a video on heavy hardcast 44 Magnum. The heaviest of that hardcast 44 Magnum, the Underwood, has locked the trigger back to the rear. It's only for a split second, and it will release, but it's still a little concerning. I have gone to, this gun is loaded, so I'm going to be careful with it. I have gone to the Grizzly ammunition because I did fire another box of this and I have not had any issues. It's a little bit lighter in recoil. It's still extremely powerful. As you can see, if you've watched any of my older videos, I did change my carry orientation up a little bit. I do carry this so that my first 3 rounds will be the double tap 300 grain controlled expanding rounds, and then I get into the 3 rounds here of the 355 grain hard cast. And that's how I've been carrying this gun. No issues so far. This gun's been great. Now, getting into my velocity testing, I pulled out my chronograph, and I'll roll in some of that footage now. Here is my Cz Shadow 2. Got a nice set of VZ grips on there, palm swell grips. They don't swell out as much as the lock grips. $16.11. 1638, 1643, 1584, 1596. There is my 5-round group, about 12 yards. Not too bad. I wasn't really aiming for accuracy. I was just trying not to shoot my chronograph. Pretty good. And I got an average rated velocity of 1614. When I factor in those two lower ones, I had a 1584, which was a little lower, and a 1596. I fired a couple of the rounds, and I actually didn't dip down below 1500. So those were a little bit of a fluke, but I'll keep those in there. So I had an average rated velocity of 1614. The foot-pounds of energy is 1665. Sorry, not 16, 665. Very impressive. The momentum is 26, and the TKO is 9. Now, the Taylor's knockout power there, that's kind of to be expected. It favors larger diameter projectiles and heavier grain weight. The 44 Magnum that I tested, those were getting 26 on the TKO, and this is only a 9. Again, like I said, those favored the higher grain weights and the larger diameter. So that's to be expected. But that is still extremely impressive. If I use my highest velocity, which was the 1643, this gets almost 700 foot-pounds of energy. That is incredible. That is an absolutely incredible cartridge. This gun holds 17 rounds and 1 in the chamber, 18 rounds of ammunition of almost 700 foot-pounds of energy. That's amazing. That is absolutely incredible. That really is on par with a 357 Magnum. Here is my Model 28 Highway Patrolman here. And these guns are very comparable. A 4-inch revolver is very close to a 5-inch semi-automatic here, as you can see. And I'll probably do some testing on this because I am curious now. I finally got a chronograph that's actually been working for me. So I'd like to do some testing on this, but this gun might actually have some struggle hitting 700 foot-pounds of energy. A 4-inch revolver like this with 357 Magnum, it is kind of hard to hit 700 foot-pounds of energy. But we'll see. I actually do have some buffalo bore for this. I have Underwood, and I have some couple other rounds. I do have some older ammunition as well. So we'll definitely be testing this out at some point down the road. Now, this gun only holds 6 rounds. Like we said, this gun holds 17. This one only holds 6. Now, this is a large in-frame in 357 Magnum. The Model 627s now and 327s, I've owned quite a few of those guns. They hold 8 rounds. But again, it's 8 rounds, and a lot of people will tell you at least it's a guaranteed 8 rounds. But this gun has been 100% reliable. This CZ has been 100% reliable, besides those extremely overpressured 147s. Even any of the 9mm, the 9x19s I put in this gun has run flawless. Another huge selling point for this gun would be the ease of shooting it, even over the 357 Magnum. This gun is very soft shooting. I would kind of put this on par with a 40 Smith & Wesson, maybe a 357 SIG. It actually might be a little bit softer than the 357 SIG. And I'm not aware of any 115 grain 357 SIGs that generate 700 foot-pounds of energy, almost 700 foot-pounds of energy. There might be one out there. I haven't tested it. So this is incredibly impressive. It's very easy to shoot, and it holds more rounds than either a 40 Smith & Wesson or a 357 SIG. And I wasn't even trying really for accuracy there. I was just trying not to shoot my chronograph, and I made about an 1.25 inch group, just aiming in a general spot. So that is extremely impressive. That does make me consider carrying this gun again, at least at some point. I'm glad I have it. I'm glad I own it, and I am fairly glad I built it. I was thinking that maybe I shouldn't spend all this money on this barrel and this ammunition. That 9x19 would have been a sufficient self-defense gun, but I am happy that I did it. Do I suggest it for everyone? Definitely not. I think this barrel cost me about $400. This ammunition is about $70 a box. It is 50 rounds. As far as I'm aware, I'm probably one of the only people that have put a video out on the 960 Roland ammunition. Even the 460 Roland company themselves have only put out a few second videos kind of mag-dumping this ammunition. They don't really put out too much information besides, reading material and going to their website. And even then, that's a bit limited. So hopefully this video was insightful for you. If you liked it, give me a like. I don't think I'll ever be monetized on this channel, but I do appreciate it. If you have any comments, leave them in the comment section. Thanks for watching my video.